Welcome to the Athlete Insights Podcast, hosted by Yash Pad Day, a podcast focused on letting athletes tell their journeys in their sport. This podcast is presented by Boxed Water. Boxed water is better.
Welcome into another episode of the Athlete Insights Podcast. Today I've got my guest, Caden Absher. He's currently in the transfer portal, formerly linebacker for Morehead State. Caden, appreciate you
Yes,
coming and
sir.
spending time, with me.
Yes, sir.
Um, when did I always like to go back to the beginning with all of my guests and wanted to
Mhm.
understand, when did you first kind of um, get to know sport or really start experiencing sport in general? At what age?
Um, yeah, no. So when I first started to experience like sport and like how the world works, I'd say
Hmm.
my sophomore year of high school when I started figuring out like how all this comes together.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, that was probably when I first started getting like really recruited. So
yeah.
yeah, no, I'd say sophomore year.
Uh-huh. And
That's
and
what I
did you
was in.
play any youth sports at all
Oh
before
yes, sir.
at the high
Yes, sir.
school? Yeah, can you
Yeah.
talk about the youth sport experience in that regard?
Okay, yeah, no, I've been playing football and baseball uh since I was probably like T-ball age,
Ah, okay.
like first grade, like yeah. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
yeah, it's been something with me my whole life.
I gotcha. And
Yes.
you said you kind of, so is that, I'm assuming high school is when you really transitioned to football over baseball.
So I actually played both football and baseball in high school,
Okay.
and um, I realized football would have a bigger path for me, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's where I stuck it out.
Gotcha. And can you talk about your high school, like playing football and baseball, and kind of your experience in high school playing, being a two-sport athlete?
Yeah, so I mean, being a two-sport athlete in high school is obviously a lot different. It's a lot easier than
Hmm.
doing it in college.
Yeah.
But so yeah, no, it'd be great. It was always something. It gave me something to do year round to stay conditioned.
Yeah.
Uh, playing football, it'd always be nice. It's always a weird transition when you go to baseball from hitting people and
Yeah.
then go and have a swing of that. Not that much contact.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I'm always interested. I know you mentioned your sophomore year, you started to get recruited. You really started to lock in on sports and lock in on that. And can you talk about your recruitment process? I know you were at Morehead State. Now you're in the transfer portal, looking for a new home. And so, but can you talk about your high school? We'll touch on the transfer portal and NIL and all these different things.
Okay.
But can you talk about your high school recruiting experience, kind of what that was like, and walk me through that?
Okay, yeah. So sophomore year, I'd say is when I actually started to like get recruited and go on visits.
Okay.
My sophomore year, I trained with a guy, Matt McChesney at 60 Academy,
Mm,
and he helped set up my whole recruiting. Really,
yeah.
he sent me on a couple visits to some lower FBS schools. So that was when I started getting a little more looks. And I'd say junior year is when stuff started to get real. Offers
Mm,
started to come in,
yeah.
and yeah, I'd say junior year I ended with probably 3 offers just to some low D2s,
Yeah.
and then my senior year, by the end of the season, I started picking up those D1 FCS offers,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it also took me to a lot more visits. I'd say
Gotcha.
my senior year, I probably went on more visits than I have in my entire high school. But
Gotcha.
yeah,
And what stood out about Morehead State out of high school that made you kind of go that route to Morehead State?
yeah. So Morehead State competes in the Pioneer
Hmm.
Conference for football.
Yeah.
So when I went on the visit there and I looked more into their program, a bunch of the linebackers and competition kids, it seemed like it would be a place where I could really compete, and
Yeah.
with that level
Hmm.
um, compared to more higher FCSs
Yeah.
at the time. So I felt it'd be the best fit for me to get on the field and
Yeah.
start competing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and honestly, the coaches were great at
Hmm.
Morehead State. But yeah, that's what really stood out to me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And what was the biggest difference you saw within high school football and the game of high school football versus when you got to Morehead and the FCS side of football? What was the biggest change and the difference that you saw?
Yeah, so the biggest difference,
Hmm.
the speed
Hmm.
of high school
Yeah.
compared to college is a lot faster.
Gotcha.
It's it's obviously something you need to. It'll shock you
Yeah.
like when you first go in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the speed difference. The game's a lot faster.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to dedicate your whole time to the sport,
Yeah.
or to be successful in it.
Yeah.
And in high school, it's a little different. It's not you got it's here and there. You practice, you go to
Yeah.
school, like it's all that. But like in this, like you have to stay with it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's not for the weak, that's for sure. And but
For sure.
yeah, and the size difference. I mean,
Mm.
that was also something I was expecting.
Yeah.
But like when you go up against those linemen,
Yeah.
it's everyone's a lot faster, a lot more
Oh
trained.
yeah. Yeah. Speed is and that's what a lot of football guys that I've had on here said. So I was just interested to see
Yeah,
kind of what your thoughts were. But yeah,
yeah,
speed is the big piece there, and it's interesting in that manner. But
yes, sir.
um, you got to Morehead State, and you're obviously a year in now. You're in the transfer portal, but you're in an era of college sports now. I mean, I graduated in 2019,
Okay.
undergrad, so this was before NIL, transfer portal, all that stuff. And so when you think about the NIL side of things, and have you looked into that at all? Kind of when you were at Morehead, did you kind of pursue NIL? What was kind of the strategy there? What did you kind of look into in that manner?
Yeah, so with my conference, we were actually a non-scholarship based conference, which
Hmm.
means the only football you can't receive any grants with that.
Oh,
So obviously, NIL was something I looked heavy into.
yeah,
I Our team set up a thing with Influxer. I don't know if you heard of it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
so Influxer made some money on there. That was a good NIL, but
yeah,
yeah, no, and then I started exploring more because everyone's trying to like get those NIL deals, with
yeah.
it's more like with clothing and stuff, but
Mm,
I wanted to look more into like some meaningful NIL, and
yeah,
I mean it was hard to find at Morehead, but
yeah.
where I go next, I'm definitely looking to
Build
pursue,
on the
yeah,
yeah.
and in that, but
What category and space are you more interested on the NIL side of when as you grow your NIL portfolio?
obviously I'd love the sponsorship and brands,
Mm,
but
yeah,
I also would like to do something that I start,
yeah,
uh, whether it's some clothing, like maybe something that like means something to me,
gotcha, gotcha.
I'd like to build off that because
Yeah,
I mean, there's a million ways you can make NIL nowadays,
yeah, yeah,
but
100%. You
but
know,
yeah, no,
uh,
probably something more meaningful,
mhm.
but yeah,
And that's great. That's great to hear, and kind of like, and that's
yeah,
really like, I do a lot of stuff with NIL and stuff like that, and
hmm
really
yeah,
like, I try to preach that, when you get with a brand, when you sign with a brand, or when you do an NIL deal, you want to make sure, like you said, it is meaningful. It has,
yeah,
you don't want to be promoting something that you don't really like, or you don't really
yes,
want to
sir,
do just for the money.
yeah,
Like you making sure that it's meaningful and making sure that you're promoting the right things and doing the right
yeah,
things. So it's great in
100%,
that manner. So and now you're in the transfer portal officially, and
yeah.
can you talk about that experience so far, or what you can tell me about that? I know there's things that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's a lot, man. So I'd say being in the transfer portal, you definitely
Mhm.
get a lot more eyes on you than you
Yeah.
did in high school
Yeah.
because all these coaches are recruiting the portal now. So
Yeah.
it's a lot different than my senior year of high school being recruited.
Hmm.
But yeah, you just gotta. It's interesting. You gotta figure out what school fits you best.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say there's a lot of schools that have reached out, but it's interesting.
Yeah. And you mentioned in high school, in the high school recruiting side, you were looking at playing time and getting playing time, and obviously playing time is an important factor of where you go. But as you enter the transfer portal, like you said, it's kind of a new ball game. It kind of opens you up to a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
What's the kind of focus of what you want your new home, like your next home, to be? What do you want out of that program that you go to in that regard?
Yeah, so I'm looking for a program that is well built,
Yeah.
especially with how they run their nutrition, strength, all that stuff.
Hmm.
I'm looking for somewhere that can help develop me as a football player,
Yeah.
and yeah, and honestly, I'd be glad to be a part of a winning team,
Yeah.
but that honestly has no meaning to me. I just want to be a part of a program
Yeah.
that knows how to run um, their stuff more efficiently.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and no, I agree. And it's, like you said, the transfer portal does open you up to a lot of different
Yes, sir.
possibilities and different aspects, even in the state of, even in Colorado itself. You have some opportunities there with CSU or CU potentially as well. So,
Yes,
kind of see what goes down. But before we end the podcast, I always want to ask my guests, this simple question is, if you were in a room with a bunch of young guys, young people, high school kids nowadays now, who want to get to the level that you're at, playing in Division 1, FCS, potentially now FBS, through the transfer portal. What's one piece of advice or one skill that you tell them to work on?
Um, I'd say you just gotta be consistent day in and day out.
Mm,
It's the work ethic is a real thing when it comes to playing at higher level.
yeah,
If you don't have the work ethic, you are most likely not going to make it far at the school you're going to.
yeah,
So I'd say you gotta be day in and day out, and you just really have to work on your craft.
for
Some more
consistency
advice.
is key.
Yeah, yeah, consistency. But
Yeah,
some more advice I'd have is just a lot of people don't understand this, but reaching out to coaches
yeah,
if you want to get recruited
mm,
and want that opportunity,
yeah,
it's something that you have to stay in every day. Like it's
absolutely.
not it's not something you could just go about and like honestly, if you have schools reaching out to you, that's great. But
Yep,
I tend when I was in that process, you tend to find more opportunities when you're the one reaching out and coaches always love honesty. So,
yeah, no, yeah.
yeah.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, consistency and honesty, two things that really go together. So,
yes, sir.
that's great. And but that's all the time we have for this episode of the Athlete Insights podcast. Again, I want to thank Caden Absher for coming on. I know you're in the thick and throes of the transfer portal, and now obviously with the holidays coming up, back in Colorado. So you can follow Caden. I'll have your social media linked on the YouTube video, on Spotify, Apple
All right.
Podcasts, pretty much everywhere this podcast goes. I'll have all your social medias linked.
Yes, sir.
And then so you can follow Caden in his career, wherever he ends up, and I know you'll be successful wherever you go, and
Thank you, sir.
have success in that manner. So, and then you can follow my podcast again anywhere: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. It'll be on any podcast platform that's on. This one will be on there. So, Caden, I appreciate you taking the
Appreciate
time,
you, sir.
and we'll see you next time.